Important interview questions. C language. C is a middle-level procedural programming language developed by Dennis Ritchie at AT&T's Bell Laboratories in the year 1972 in the USA. Features of C language: fast and efficient, easy to extend, case-sensitive, libraries with rich function. C++ language. C++ is an object-oriented programming language developed by Bjorn Stropes at Bell Labs in 1979. Features of C++: object-oriented programming, case-sensitive, middle-level language, and machine-independent. Java programming language. Java is a high-level, class-based, object-oriented programming language that is designed to have as few implementation dependencies as possible. Features of Java: object-oriented programming, functional, highly secure, platform-independent, high performance. Python programming language. Python is a high-level procedural as well as object-oriented programming language introduced by Guido van Rossum in late 1980. Features of Python: dynamically typed, easy to read, learn and write, interpreted language, platform independent, portable, libraries with rich function. What is OOPS? Object-oriented programming language. Aims to implement real-world entities like inheritance, abstraction, encapsulation, and polymorphism. Definition of OOPS: object-oriented programming is used to bind together the data and the functions that operate on them so that no other part of the code can access this data except that function. Definition of class: class is a logical entity. It is also called as a blueprint or a set of instructions. Class is a collection of objects and it doesn't take any space in memory. There are two types of classes: predefined classes and user-defined classes. Predefined classes are scanner, console, system, string, and user-defined classes are any we have given this name, test, demo, like that. Definition of object: object is an instance of class that executes the class. Once the object is created, it takes up space like other variables in memory. Pillars of OOPS concept: inheritance, polymorphism, abstraction, encapsulation. Definition of inheritance: when we construct a new class from an existing class in such a way that new class access all the features and properties of existing class, called as inheritance. In Java, extends keyword is used to perform inheritance. It provides code reusability. Types of inheritance: single or simple inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance, and hierarchical inheritance. A real-life example of inheritance is father and child. Their child may be son or daughter. The properties of father or mother is directly inherited into the child due to the gene factor. Is the real life example of inheritance. Definition of polymorphism: polymorphism is a Greek word whose meaning is the same object having different behaviors. Poly means many and morphism means forms. A real life example of polymorphism is a person at the same time can have different characteristics, like a man at home, father, friend outside the home, and consumer at the mall, and employee at company. Definition of abstraction: it is a process of hiding the implementation details from the user, only the highlighted set of services provided to the user. Real life example: sending a text message. When we send a message to another person, that person only sees the message, not the activities happening inside the mobile or behind the scene. Definition of encapsulation. It is a process of wrapping the data members and member methods of a class in a single unit is called as encapsulation. A real-life example of a school bag is an example of encapsulation. A school bag can keep our notebook, book, pen, pencil, and mathematical instruments. Another example is when we log into an email account, there are a lot of internal processes taking place in the back end and we don't have any control over it. What is SDLC? SDLC is Software Development Life Cycle, is a process of making software in 6 different phases. Definition of SDLC. It aims to produce a high quality system that meets customer expectations and works effectively in the current and planned information technology. It is inexpensive to maintain and cost effective to enhance. 6 phases of SDLC. Number 1. Planning. Business analyst collects the requirement from the customer and documents required as per the business requirement specification. Number 2. Analysis phase. Define and document the product requirements and get them approved from the customer. Design phase. To make high level document and low level document. In a high level document, it gives architecture of software products by architects and senior developers, and in low level design describes how each and every feature in the product should work. Number 4. Development phase. Actual development of software is start in development phase. Number 5. Testing phase. Quality analyst make sure that software is error free. Number 6. Deployment or maintenance phase, done by deployment engineers. Once customers start using developed product, then actual problem will come up and need to be solved from time to time. Types of SDLC models. Number 1. Waterfall model. Number 2. Spiral model. Number 3. V model. Number 4. Agile model. And number 5. Prototype model. Number 1. Waterfall model. It is a basic software development lifecycle model. It is very simple but idealistic. It is very important because all the SDLC models are based on the waterfall model. Advantages of waterfall model. Basic model, simple and easy, used for small projects. Disadvantages of waterfall model: no feedback, no experiment, no overlapping of phases, high risk due to rigidity, 60% efforts done in the maintenance phase. Number 2. Spiral model. Risk handling. Radius of spiral increases, then cost increases. Angular dimension represents progress. It is also called as meta model because it uses multiple models, waterfall model and other models. Advantages: risk handling, used for large projects, flexible, customer satisfaction. Disadvantages: complex, expensive, too much risk analysis, time is not specific. Number 3. V model. It uses validation and verification. Verification: it is an inspection of a units, and validation: final products testing or system testing. Number 4. Agile model. It is the latest model. Nowadays it is mostly used. Agile model is also called as move quickly. In this model, large projects are divided into small iterations and then released immediately. Then feedback comes from, and again it has to be enhanced, and again it is released. Advantages: frequent delivery, face to face communication with clients, it takes less time. Disadvantages of agile model: less documentation, maintenance problem. Prototype model, used when customers do not know exact project requirements. Prototype of product first developed, testing and refined as per customer feedback repeatedly till final acceptable. Latest technologies. Number 1, machine learning. It is the type of artificial intelligence that allows software application to become more accurate at predicting outcome without being explicitly programmed to do so. It uses historical data as input to predict new output. Applications: medicine, email filtering, speech recognition, and computer vision. Number 2, artificial intelligence. It is a study of intelligent agent, which refers to any system that perceives its environment and takes actions that maximize its chance of achieving its goals. Application: Google recommendation system, understanding human speech by Alexa, self-driving cars. Number 3, cloud computing, storing and accessing the data and programs on remote servers that are hosted on the internet instead of computers, hard drive, or local server, referred as internet-based computing. Application: Amazon Web Service is the best example of cloud computing. Advantages: reliability, physical security, money saving, and scalability. Number 4, IoT, Internet of Things. Physical objects with sensors, processing ability, software, and other technologies that connect and exchange data with other devices and systems over the internet is called as Internet of Things. Applications: in medical and healthcare, agriculture, and transportation. Number 5, cyber security. It is the application of technologies, processes to protect systems, networks, programs, and data from cyber attack. Applications of cyber security: DDoS security, web firewall, bots, and antivirus and anti-malwares. Data structure: it is the storage format that defines the way data is stored, organized, and manipulated. Example: array, tree, linked list, stack, queue. Array. Number 1, array. It is the linear data structure that collects elements of the same data type and store them in a contiguous memory and adjacent memory locations. It works on an index system starting from 0 to n-1, where n is the size of array. Linked list. It is a linear data structure in which elements are not stored at contiguous memory locations. A linked list consists of nodes where each node contains a data field and a reference link to the next node in the list. Stack. It is a linear data structure in which operations are performed in a LIFO order, last in first out. Example: stack of plates in America. You can only take a plate from top of the stack and you can add a plate on the top of the stack. Queue. It is a linear data structure in which operations are performed in a FIFO order, first in first out. Example: a queue of patients in hospital. Those who come first are treated first. Tree. Tree is a non-linear data structure. It is a hierarchical structure as elements in a tree are arranged in multiple levels. Trees are used to store data in a hierarchical structure. It used to organize data for efficient insertion, deletion, and researching. A binary tree. It is a non-linear data structure with a maximum of 2 children for each parent. The top node is a root node. Nodes that hold other subnodes are parent nodes. Recursion is a process in which a function calls itself directly or indirectly in order to solve the problems. Types of recursion: direct recursion, indirect recursion, and tail recursion. Array list. Array list, also known as resizable array. Array list has a method for inserting, deleting, and searching. Array list can be traversed using a loop, iterators, or index. Array list automatically expands as data is added. An array is a fixed length data structure and an array list is a variable length data structure. Database. A database is a collection of related data which represents some aspects of the real world. DBMS Database Management System is a software system for storing and retrieving users' data while considering appropriate security measures. It consists of a group of programs which manipulate the database. Database management system designed to handle following difficulties. Number 1, data redundancy and inconsistency. Number 2, difficulty in accessing data. Number 3, integrity problem. Number 4, security problem. Number 5, concurrent access by multiple users. Number 6, atomicity of updates. And number 7, data isolation. What is ER diagram? Entity relationship diagram is a conceptual model that uses the graphical representation of the logical structures of a database. It shows all constraints and relationships that exist among different components. An ER diagram mainly composed of three components: entity set, attributes, relationship set. Relationship set is just association among several entities. Entity set. It is a set of same type of entities. A strong entity set contains sufficient attributes to uniquely identify. Weak entities doesn't contain sufficient attributes to uniquely identify. Attributes. Descriptive properties which are owned by each entity. Types. Number 1, simple attributes, cannot divide further. Example, age. Number 2, composite attributes, composed of many simple attributes. Example, name, address. Number 3, multi-valued attributes, one value for each entity. Example, mobile number, email ID. Number 4, key attributes, attributes they can identify uniquely in the entity set. Example, roll number. Number 5, derived attributes which can be derived from other attributes. For example, age can be derived from date of birth. Key. Key is a set of attributes that can identify each tuple uniquely in the given relation. Types of key. Number 1, super key. A super key is a set of attributes that can identify each tuple uniquely in the given relation. A super key may consist of any number of attributes. Number 2, candidate key. A set of minimal attributes that can identify each tuple uniquely in the given relation is called as a candidate key. Number 3, primary key. A primary key is a candidate key that the database designer selects while designing the database. Primary keys are unique and not null. Alternate key. Number 4, candidate keys that are left unimplemented or unused after implementing the primary key are called as alternate key. Number 5, foreign key. Foreign key is a key used to link two tables together. This is sometimes also called as a referencing key. A foreign key is a column or a combination of columns whose value match a primary key in a different tables. Number 6, composite key. A primary key composite of multiple attributes and not just a single attribute is called as composite key. Number 7, unique key. It is a unique for all records of table. Once assigned, its value cannot be changed, that is non-updatable. It may have null value. Acid properties in DBMS. To ensure the consistency of database, certain properties are followed by all the transactions occurring in the system. These properties are called as acid properties of transaction. Number 1, atomicity. This property ensures that either the transaction occurs completely or it does not occur at all. It ensures that no transaction occurs partially. Number 2, consistency. Integrity constraints are maintained. It ensures that the database remains consistent before and after transaction. Number 3, isolation. Multiple transactions can occur simultaneously without causing any inconsistency. Number 4. Durability. This property ensures that all the changes made by a transaction after its successful execution are written successfully to disk. Also ensures that changes exist permanently and are never lost even if there occurs failure of any kind. Normalization in DBMS. In DBMS, database normalization is the process of making a database consistent by reducing the redundancies and ensuring the integrity of the database through lossless decomposition. What is SQL? Structured Query Language is a domain-specific language used in programming and designed for managing data held in a relational database management system. SQL commands or SQL instructions. It is used to communicate with a database. It is also used to perform specific tasks, functions, and queries of data. SQL can perform various tasks like create a table, add data to a table, drop the table, modify the table, set permission for users. SQL commands. There are 5 types of SQL commands. DDL, data definition language. Number 2, DML, data manipulation language. Number 3, DCL, data control language. Number 4, TCL, transaction control language. Number 5, DQL, data query language. Let's see number 1, DDL, data definition language. It changes the structure of the tables like creating a table, deleting a table, altering a table. All the commands of DDL are also auto-committed. That means it permanently saves all the changes in the database. Number 1, create, used to create new tables in database. Number 2, drop, used to delete both structures and records stored in table. Number 3, alter, used to alter structure of database. Number 4, truncate, used to delete all the rows from the table and free the space containing tables. Number 2, DML, data manipulation language, used to modify database, responsible for all forms of changes in the database. Commands of DML are not auto-committed. That means it can't permanently save all changes in the database. They can be rolled back. Types of DML. Number 1, insert, used to insert data into the row of tables. Number 2, update, used to update or modify the value of the column in a table. Number 3, delete, used to remove or one or more rows from the table. DCL, data control language. DCL commands are used to grant and take back authority from any database user. Number 1, grant, used to give user access privilege to a database. And number 2, revoke, used to take back permission from the user. TCL, transaction control language, only used with DML commands like insert, delete and update. Only these operations are automatically committed in the database. That's why they can not be used while creating tables or dropping them. Number 1, commit, used to save all the transactions to the database. Number 2, rollback, used to undo transactions that have not already been saved to the database. Number 3, save point, used to roll a transaction back to a certain point without rolling back an entire transaction. DQL, data query language, used to fetch data from the database. 1, select, this is the same as the projection operation of relational algebra, used to select attributes based on conditions described. Joins, which allows us to retrieve data from 2 or more related tables into a meaningful result set. Tables are related to each other using foreign key constraints. Types of joins in SQL Server. SQL Server mainly supports 4 types of joins, and each join type defines how two tables are related in a query. Number 1, inner join. This join returns all records from multiple tables that satisfy the specified join conditions. It is the simplest and the most popular form of join and assumes a default join. Number 2, self join. A table is a joint to itself using the self join. Each table row is combined with itself and with every other table row. Number 3, cross join. Cross join, either SQL Server combines all the possibilities of 2 or more tables and returns a result that includes every row from all the contributing tables. Number 4, outer join. Outer join in SQL Server returns all records from both tables that satisfy the join condition. Important questions based on Java. What is JVM? JVM is a Java virtual machine. It is an abstract machine. It is a specification that provides a runtime environment in which Java bytecodes can be executed. JVM is a platform dependent. JVM performs following operations: loads code, verifies code, execute codes, and provide runtime environments. What is a constructor? Constructor is a special type of method whose name is same as that of the class name. Main purpose of constructor is initialize the object. Every Java class has a constructor. What are access modifiers? Java access modifiers are used to set the accessibility of classes, interfaces, variables, methods, constructors, and data members. Types of Java access modifiers: private, protected, public, and default. Number 1, private. Access level of a private modifier is only within class. It cannot be accessed from outside the class. Number 2, protected. Access level of a protected modifier is within the package and outside the package through child class. If you do not make a child class, cannot be accessed from outside the package. Number 3, public. Access level of a public modifier is everywhere. It can be accessed from within class, outside the class, within the package, and from outside the package. Number 4, default. Access level of a default modifier is only within the package. It cannot be accessed from outside the package. If you do not specify any access level, it will be default. What is a pointer? It is a variable which can hold the address of another variable. There are 2 types of operator: and symbol stores address of the operator, and asterisk store values of the address. What is a null pointer? A pointer that does not refer to any address or value is known as a null pointer. What is pointer on the pointer? The first pointer is used to store the address of the variable, and the second pointer is used to store the address of the first pointer. What is a dangling pointer? A dangling pointer is a pointer pointing to a memory location that has been freed or deleted. Definition of important terms. Keyword. It is a reserved word whose meaning is already defined in the compiler. There are 32 keywords in C and 52 keywords are in Java. Data type. It specifies the size and type of values that can be stored in any variables. Variables. Variable is the name of memory location where we store data. Types of variables. Number 1, local variables. A variables declared within a function or a block of code is called as a local variable and has a default value as a garbage value. Number 2, global variables declared outside the function or a block of code are called as global variables and have default value as a 0. Number 3, static variables are variables declared within a function or a block of code and having default value as a 0. What is an identifier? It refers to the name that is used to identify variables, functions, and so on. All variables and functions are identifiers. Operators. It is a symbol that tells the compiler to perform mathematical and logical tasks. Algorithm. It is a step-by-step detailed description of any program is called as algorithm. Flowchart. A graphical representation of any algorithm is called as flowchart. Else if statement is used when we have multiple conditions, more than two conditions. Nested if else. Whenever we define if else inside another if else block is called as nested if else statement. Switch statement. It is used when we want to select any one case out of multiple cases. Loops. It is used to repeat a block of code until the given condition is true. Loop is used to repeat a block of code until the given condition is true. Number 1, while loop, entry control loop. Number 2, do while loop, exit control loop. And number 3 is for loop, is an entry control loop. Nested loop, loop which contains inside another loop called as a nested loop. String. It is a sequence of characters and it always ends with a null character. Function. Function is a block of code which takes input from the user, processes it and produce output. Functions run only when it is called. Storage class. It defines the scope and lifetime of variables and functions. Structure. It is a user defined name which is used to store a group of different types of values. Size of the structure depends on the structure member. Union. It is user defined name which is used to store a group of different types of values. Size of the union depends on the biggest member size. File handling. Storing data in a file and accessing data from a file is called as file handling. Thank you. For this PDF I have given link in the description, so you can check it now or check it afterwards.